So we are going to solve 2x squared plus 5x minus 10 equals 2. We're going to solve that 5 different methods. Now the first method, we can't use square roots. And the reason why we can't use square roots is because we have 1, 2, 3 terms. And square roots you cannot solve when you have 3 terms that you can't add. And yes, you could call this a 4th term, but these two combine. So there's really only 1, 2, 3 terms. So you can't solve this way. Why? There are 3 terms. Now solve by graphing. I'm going to go ahead and solve by graphing so we can check our work as we go. 2x squared plus 5x minus 10 equals 2. (10x squared plus 5x minus 10 equals 2. My solutions would be negative 1.374 and 0.874. So after graphing, we can see the solutions are negative 4 and 1.5. So I would say x equals negative 4 and x equals 1.5. Those are my 2 solutions by graphing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to solve by factoring. Solve by factoring, first I'm going to move the 2 over, so I'm going to go minus 2 from both sides. And we're trying to get that to be 0, which it is now. And negative 10 and negative 2 is negative 12. And the rest stays the same. From there, I take this number times this number, and I put that on top of the factor x. And 2 times negative 12, that's negative 24. And then you put this number on the bottom and you get 5. So we're trying to find 2 numbers that multiply to negative 24 but add to 5, and I believe that would be 8 and negative 3. So now I have x and x to get x squared. And then here I'll have plus 8. And then minus 3. And I'm going to take that 2 from before and I'm going to divide them both by 2. Now if it reduces, like 8 divided by 2 is 4, you just change it to 4. If it does not reduce, like 3/2 does not reduce, you slide the 2 to the front. And you get 2x minus 3 is 0. From there, to multiply and get 0 by the 0 product property, either x plus 4 equals 0, or 2x minus 3 equals 0. This one's easy to solve. What number plus 4 is 0? That'd be negative 4. This one takes a little more time. I would add 3 to both sides. I get 2x equals 3. Divide by 2. And I get x is 3/2, which is approximate, well, it's exactly 1.5. So by factoring, I found the solutions are 1.5 and negative 4. And remember, that's what I got here, 1.5 and negative 4. Next, we're going to solve by completing the square. And completing the square is actually different. What you're going to do is you're going to take this negative 10, and you're actually going to move it to the other side. So you're going to add 10 to both sides. So those go away. 2 plus 10 is 12. And then I have 2x squared plus 5x. From here, in order to complete the square, you need to get rid of the 2. So you're going to divide them both by 2. And that changes that to x squared. And then this becomes 5 over 2. So all I did was factor out a 2. Now, you never factor out and make things a fraction unless you're trying to do something like complete the square. Now, from there, you are going to complete the square. And what completing the square means is you take this 5/2 and you're going to add something to both sides. Because whatever you add to one side, you have to add to the other. And so the way you figure it out is you take this 5/2, you divide it by 2. That's the same thing as multiplying the denominator by 2. That's 5/4. And then you square both of these. So you get 25 over 16. So that's what you're going to add to both sides. You're going to add 25 over 16. Now, this is actually 2 times 25 over 16. So this is going to become 25 over 8 over here. Now, we can punch this in my calculator. What's 12 plus 25 over 8? (25 plus 12 divided by 8). What's the fraction? 53 over 2. So this part over here becomes 53 over 2. And then what multiplies to 25/16 but adds to 5/2? That would be 5/4. So this, what multiplies to 25/16? But adds to 5/2? That would be 5/4 and 5/4. So that means I'm going to get the same factor twice. So now I have 2x plus 5/4 5/4 but 2x plus 5/4 is x plus 5/4 squared. Now to solve this, I divide both sides by 2, and I get x plus 5/4 squared. If you divide by 2, that becomes 53/4. Okay, looking at my work earlier, I did 25 plus 12/8. It should be 12 plus 25/8. So this changes. That's 121 over 8. So what that means is this should be 121 over 8. 121 over 8. So I need to change this. over 8. And then when you divide by 2, that becomes 121 over 16. 121 over 16. And then from there, take the square root of both sides. And that's a 5/4, so I can fix that. So if I take the square root of both sides, that's positive and negative square root of 121 over 16. I don't need the parentheses anymore, so I get x plus 5/4 is equal to, and the square root of 121 is 11. The square root of 16 is 4. Subtract 5/4 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 5/4 plus or minus 11 over 4. Now the first computation, we'll take negative 5 plus 11. And notice these are common denominators, thankfully. Negative 5 plus 11 is 6, so you get 6 divided by 4. Which equals our 3/2 that we got earlier, 1.5. And then we'll subtract negative 5 minus 11 is negative 16. Negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. So we got the same two solutions as before, negative 4 and 3/2, just like we did there. The final method is solving by quadratic formula, and it says that the number right here is your a term, so that's your a. So everywhere you see an a, like right there, you'll replace that with the 2. So that becomes a 2. Your next number is the b term. So everywhere you see a b, which is two places, here and here, you'll put a 5. And also I forgot about the other a. There's also an a here. And then your last number is your c. And so you put negative 12 in there. So filling this in, I have, and this part's going to stay the same. So you're going to have x equals negative plus or minus square root, and it's going to be negative something, and it's going to be something squared minus 4 times something all over 2 times something. So now we can fill in the numbers. So I need to put a 2 in for a. So a 2 is going to go here. And a 2 is going to go here. I need to put a 5 in for b. So 5 will go here and here. And I need to put negative 12 in for c, which is here. Now I would encourage you just to type this part in your calculator if you need to. If this is 25, and then negative 4 times negative 12 is 48. 48 times 2 is 96. So you get 25 minus 96. But if you need to, just type it in your calculator. 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 12. You get 121. So all of this becomes 121. So now you get x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 121 all over 2 times 2, which is 4. But the square root of 121 is a nice whole number because it's a perfect square. That's actually 11. So you have negative 5 plus or minus 11 over 4. So my two solutions. First, I need to take negative 5 plus 11 divided by 4. And my other one will be negative 5 minus 11. Divided by 4. Negative 5 plus 11, that's 6. And 6 over 4 reduces to 3/2. Or, here you subtract, negative 5 minus 11 is negative 16. And if you take negative 16 divided by 4, you get negative 4. So again, I got 3/2 and negative. So first I tried using square roots. It didn't work because I had 3 unique terms. Solving by factoring is probably the easiest way. Completing the square, I also got 3/2 and -4 just like I did with factoring. Quadratic formula wasn't too bad either. I got 3/2 and -4. Now these might look very similar because the formula comes from completing the square. And then graphing. Graphing was actually probably the easiest method, but the problem with graphing is you don't always get whole numbers and you may need an exact value, and graphing doesn't give you an exact